My name is Jennifer Spivak, and I am the CEO and founder of The Ad Girls. We are an all-female Facebook and Instagram advertising agency. I became a Facebook ad expert just by learning as I was doing. I've been doing Facebook ads for over a decade, since Facebook ads was really a thing. The most important thing for retailers when they want to run ads successfully on Facebook or really any social channel all comes down to some of the boring, not sexy, foundational things that people tend to really love to overlook. Talking about things like your messaging, making sure that you're really communicating what is so unique about your brand and not blending in with everything else. Making sure that your website actually converts at a rate that allows for profitability with how much it costs to run Facebook ads. And then of course also having the right back-end systems in place so that you can retain those customers, have repeat customers, and ultimately make your media buying decisions based on customer lifetime value and not just that first touch point return on ad spend. The biggest mistake that everybody, definitely retailers, but all brands are making when it comes to developing a paid advertising strategy is not understanding what paid advertising is designed to do. It is not a magic bullet that is going to fix your business overnight. It is traffic, plain and simple. Now, when used properly, it has the ability to be a scalable, repeatable, predictable system for unbelievable growth. But ultimately, if your foundations are not in place, it's just driving more eyeballs and more traffic on top of something that ultimately doesn't work. The key components that a business wants to have in place in order to be successful with Facebook ads is a really, really good understanding of the right messaging, especially when it comes to how competitive the newsfeed has gotten, and it's not going to be getting any less competitive. Really figuring out how to speak about what it is that you do, what is so unique about your story, and like really leaning into, we talk about these 4 different types of messaging buckets. They're credibility, which is what a lot of brands do, that's the easy one. But then also vulnerability, personality, and feel good. And ultimately you can create this more emotional, human-based brand when you are not just selling a product, but actually really honing in on these other aspects of your messaging and your brand story and your origin story that ultimately will have you be able to cut through the clutter and almost have the competition on the newsfeed like not even really be a thing anymore. At the end of the day, when we're talking about Facebook and Instagram versus any other channel, the way that we would advise our clients is diversifying is usually a good thing. However, the majority of the planet is on Facebook and Instagram. They have more data than any other platform out there. In my opinion, Facebook and Instagram should be the baseline. It's the tried and true. You start there, you maximize that, you get it working, and then yes, diversifying is always a thing that's worth testing at the end of the day. A retailer should be thinking about outsourcing their ad buying and their ad strategy to an agency or a third party when they have those foundational things in place. So again, you want to be looking for some key baseline metrics like a website that converts at bare minimum at least 2%. If you are not there and you are going to be investing serious money in an agency, it does not matter if they're the best agency in the world and they create the most amazing ads for you. Your website still needs to be the engine that turns that ad traffic into sales. So if you are at that at least 2% conversion rate and ultimately you are ready to not be spending your time learning something that somebody else may have a decade of experience in, it may be a good time to think about outsourcing. Talking about delegating as a female business owner, it's such an important topic. I play this game with myself every day. Whenever I have a task that I need to do, I stop and I go, is this my job? Could this be somebody else's job? And so ultimately, it is about this constant process of re-looking at everything that I'm doing through the lens of, it's actually of greatest service, not only myself, but the people that work for me and my company, for me to be really sitting squarely in my zone of genius perfect seat and hire other amazing experts and amazing support that can then also sit in their perfect zone of genius seats. And I think bringing it back to that conversation around delegating with women specifically, we are by default going to take everything on, right? Like that is what we are all trained. It's ultimately an act of rebellion to not just try and take everything on, to be willing to say like that behavior stops here. And especially as entrepreneurs, especially as those that are in the spotlight, It's our duty, I believe, to show others how it's done. So many levels and layers to which delegating and hiring amazing support is actually like a deep act of service to the planet. Delegating has absolutely helped our bottom line. There is only so much that I or anybody else can do on my own. There was a point in time before I really started building a team that I personally was making a decent amount of cash every month. But I was doing everything. I mean, I worked weekends for years. I traveled a lot, but I never took a vacation. I was always working. And so ultimately, in building out a team of experts, we've been able to onboard more clients, serve people at a higher level, and grow well beyond what I could ever do on my own.